When you think back on your life, on all the places that you've gone, and all the things that you've done, what is it you remember most? For me, it's the people. The people that I shared these experiences with, the laughter we had, maybe some of the tears that we shed, but it's the people. So as you grow older and you want to rock retirement, it's really important to noodle on how do you stay connected with your people. And that's what we're going to explore this week on the Retirement Answer Man Show. My name is Roger Whitney. I am your host. And if you're new here, this is the show dedicated to helping you not just survive retirement. We're here to help you rock retirement. And this is week 2 of a month-long series on how technology is going to help transform your retirement. And if we harness it correctly, it's going to help you rock your retirement. And connecting with your people is a critical component of rocking retirement. So that was what we're going to explore today. But we can't do any of that until we have that all-important disclaimer. Hello and welcome to the disclaimer. It doesn't have to be ominous. It can be fun. This is an important part of the show. It's a friendly reminder that I don't give you any advice at all. I don't know anything about you. So don't take advice from me. I only give advice to clients that I work with as a fiduciary. So until such time, think of this as helpful hints and education. And before you make any decisions, talk to your legal advisor, your tax advisor, or your financial advisor. Now that, my friend, is good advice. Now let's go into the hot topic and talk about staying connected. So the past Surgeon General, Dr. Murphy, says that loneliness should be targeted in public health campaigns like those designed to combat smoking, immunizations, obesity, and prevent the spread of AIDS virus. Loneliness, he says, is on par with these very physical ailments. WebMD said that loneliness rivals obesity in terms of health risks. Now, I don't know about all that, but what I do know is that loneliness sucks, and it can hit us as we grow older, because what happens is we become more isolated. Our kids grow up, our grandchildren get busy, friends move away or pass on. And maintaining connection and maintaining a vibrant social network just creates a better life. From medical doctors to psychological associations, creating greater social connection can drastically reduce the odds of an early death. It can cause us to become more unhealthy, more prone to addictions, more prone to a lot of things that we probably don't want to be prone to. Julianne Holt-Lundstedt, PhD, a psychologist at Brigham Young University, talks about this. And she says that 42.6 million Americans over age 45 have chronic loneliness. This is according to an AARP loneliness study. The study said that loneliness was a good predictor of poor health. More research has linked social isolation to a higher chance of Alzheimer's disease, which now strikes about almost 6 million Americans. And that number is projected to triple by 2050 as we all get older. Do you get the point? Loneliness sucks. We don't want this when we are entering retirement. And the problem is, because of some of the things I talked about, people growing older, passing away, family getting busier, and it's easy to become the last person standing and be pretty isolated. Last week, I shared the tidbit on my friend that volunteers for Meals at Wheels and has done so for over a decade. A lot of people, he's the only one they see during the week. So the goal here, obviously, is to stay connected. But why? Well, you want to stay connected with your people that you resonate with that can enrich your life. That's obvious. But we also need to focus on renewing the people that are in our social network. And this is especially true as we age. And we want to renew with people exactly like us, maybe in an age bracket standpoint, but we also want to renew our social network going down the chronological ladder to people younger than us to help us stay fresh, to be able to bestow some of our wisdom and to help keep us fresh and young and agile in our thinking. Best example of this that I can think of is Dan Miller from 48 Days to the Work You Love, who is 70-ish. He has the most vibrant social network I know, and here I am, a 52-year-old guy, and I love hanging out with Dan Miller, and he loves hanging out with me and others because we have a lot in common that transcends the chronological age that we happen to be, and he is one of the most alive, alert, curious person that I know. So we want to make sure that we also are expanding our social network in that renewal phase going downward. And then lastly, we want to be selective of who they are, because as we get older, what happens? A lot of times we are forced into social connections that may not be the people that we chose to hang out with, either because they're our neighbor and we're not mobile, or we're in whether it's an apartment building or a neighborhood or it's family, people that we don't really share natural interest in. So we got to find our people, the ones that support the interests that we have and the things that we like to do, not just simply be social for social's sake. So how do we make those connections? There's a lot of things that technology can do to help. So before we get into the practical planning segment and talk about technology tools to keep us connected, let's talk some old school ways that are still really valid. You have taking classes in a way to meet friends. You have joining a club, volunteering, church, choir, music. There are a lot of things that we can do to build those connections and maintain those connections. And technology as a tool can really help us find those connections. So, joining a club can be a little difficult to find the club, and technology can help empower you to do that. So what I want to do is, in our practical planning segment, let's explore technology and how it can help you build a vibrant network. As many of you know, recently my wife had some pretty major back surgery, and the recovery was 6 weeks. For the first 3 to 4 weeks, she wasn't able to be in a car, and she wasn't very mobile. It was obvious that the social isolation that resulted from this impacted her. I don't know how it couldn't. Couldn't get out, couldn't see her friends, couldn't do the things that she enjoyed doing. She felt isolated. During that time, I worked from the home for about a month, and that helped, but I was busy and I was doing my things, and she was, watching a lot of TV and reading and just trying to heal. But the social isolation really had an impact on her happiness. I could see it. Now she can drive again. She's getting out, still gets tired after a while. But just the ability to go drive someplace, like we talked about last week, or to see a friend and be with her people has changed her mood dramatically. The lifeline for her during this time was a lot of the social connectedness that technology allowed her to have. So technology is already having an impact, helping people stay connected in ways that we couldn't have imagined even 10 years ago. Whether it's FaceTime with your friends or family, social media and reading about what's going on with your family. Social media, when we talk about technology, and we'll focus on that first, has really done a lot of good in a lot of these areas. So let's talk about what we have now. So we have the typical social media technology platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, things that allow us to connect with people that we've known or know, observe their life, have conversations in a digital way, even if we're not able to be with them directly. I know from just my kids' grandparents, seeing them post on what's going on in their life makes them really happy and creates conversation offline about what's going on in their life. They feel like they can be a part of their lives more than ever before and observe their lives more than any other generation could in the past. Now, I understand the bad things about all this. There are a lot of bad about social media, and we'll get into some of that in week 5 and how to make these tools productive and not destructive. But Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, things like that are pretty powerful. Texting. I think we underappreciate how powerful texting is to have conversations. My kids are busy. My daughter lives out of the house. When we're running around or I'm traveling, having group text conversations that go on is an ongoing conversation, keeps us connected even when we're not able to talk or things are too busy. Devices, the phone, obviously your mobile phone, which is pretty amazing in itself. That's been around for a while. But video, connecting and FaceTiming with your brother or sister or parent or grandchildren and seeing and talking to them face to face, even if you can't be there with them, is a pretty powerful way to stay connected. To show your grandparent the new trick that their great grandkids can do, even though they're across the world, is pretty powerful. You have the iWatch, which can stay connected. You have Zoom and Skype for phone calls all over the world. Remember when you have to worry about, our minutes, our international or long distant minutes and when we could call, our nights and weekends and things like that? All that's gone away. What about finding your people? We talk about joining clubs or organizations. How do we find those things? It's not always easy, right? My son is into a new game called, I'm trying to remember it, Warhammer. I think it's Warhammer. Real geeky game, not Dungeons and Dragons, but, it's similar type of stuff. And he's trying to find his people that play that game. And he goes to the local toy shop or hobby shop, and there's a group of people that play it. And so he's starting to make friends that way. But for me, I love board games, Memoir 44, Ticket to Ride, all these types of games, viticulture. My network was in Texarkana, which is like 3 hours away, that I would play these games with periodically. I don't have anybody local to play with. And so I was hanging out, surfing the other day, and I got on meetup.com and I Googled my area, or I guess searched my area for board games, and I found a board game group, someone that hosts one every other month or so. And so I asked to join the group and explained who I was. They responded. And so I ended up going to a meetup with, there were about 5-6 people there, and we played games for like 6 hours. It was weird putting myself out there. I didn't know who these people were, other than the connection we had via this meetup app. And I went to their home and we played games, and I'm going to go again in July. It took some social courage. But the cool thing is, with an app like Meetup, you can find people that have interests that you have in your area. And that's really the point I'm trying to get across. And there are more apps that are coming that are geared towards people 50 and older, whether it's Our Time, which is the largest dating network for singles over 50, Connected Living, which connects older adults in senior housing with each other and their families. I think that's going to be something that we're going to see grow over time. Personally, I think the next evolution of these social applications, like a Facebook or others, are going to be private networks that you create or you join around a particular interest or region, so you can be off of the wider internet and privately connect with people that are like you or that have the same interest. I think a great example of that is the Rock Retirement Club, because that is a private club where people in a certain period of life with a certain spirit and intentionality are connecting and walking a little bit of life together outside of the social media mosh pit of Facebook and things like that. I think that is the next evolution, because these private networks can be about family, they can be about photography, knitting, rocking retirement. I guess the point is there's going to be all these little sub clubs that we may have had in a local way, but in a technological platform where you can find people that are like you and that you want to hang out with. And I think that's really cool, because that's going to help stay connected in ways that we didn't really have the ability to do not that long ago. One additional note on this connecting with your people in these private networks, like with the Rock Retirement Club, I'll just use this as an example. So we have people in there all over the country, 200 plus people. A couple people live internationally. We have meetups using Zoom, which is a online platform where we are all on video together, being able to have conversations and quote unquote meetings and create those social connections. It doesn't mean you don't go offline periodically, which we do, but the online was a way for us all to find each other, people that are nice, that are intentional, they're in the same season of life, and they're all working towards the same goal. Trying to find that locally can be difficult, but we were able to connect and find our people, whether they lived in Cincinnati or Orlando or Los Angeles or Japan, which is pretty cool. Now, there are a lot of downsides to these social media platforms, so don't go running and get on Facebook. There are a lot of downsides to these, so we need to figure out how to harness these for our own good, and we're going to talk about that in week 5. That's a big one, but I think they hold a promise to keep us connected with the people we love, but also help us meet the people that we want to share a little bit of life with. Now, what does the future hold for all this? Well, implants, a smartphone in your head, is not, there have been tests on things like that. It is not viable yet. To my generation, or to me, I don't know if I want to be implanted with anything, but those things are coming. Augmented reality and virtual reality, things that will make things seem more real and in place. I've seen a demonstration of a hologram of a person talking. So can you imagine, rather than having to look at your grandchild on your computer screen or iPad, having a hologram of them, sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi, hopefully better technology-wise, where they just pop up and you can see them crawling for the first time or walking for the first time in a hologram, even if they're on the other side of the world. Or sit and have a conversation with your son or daughter, and you're both looking at each other and you're virtually sitting in chairs facing each other, having a conversation. A virtual presence. Language barriers are coming down. We're not that far away from having instant translation, to where if you connect with someone about a specific topic and you want to have a conversation with them, you get on Skype, you get on Zoom or whatever, and there's an add-on where they speak Japanese and you speak English, but you're not having to read subtitles of the transcription. You can literally talk and the computer is translating live and putting it into audio for you. This is not that far away. There are what are called smart grids, or communication built into everything, that will help give you custom information for you wherever you go. So if you're driving in LA and you happen to be in town, it will say, oh, wow, you have these 3 connections and they're in the same area with you or not. Do you want to call one and see if they want to have coffee? Sounds weird. I know. And there are downsides to all this, but that sounds pretty cool too, to be able to facilitate healthy connections by helping you be aware. And the key, we'll have to choose how we harness this and which ones we use. And we'll get to that, as I said. But what's the point of all of this? The point is there are tools there now, and there are tools coming that will help you, number one, stay connected to your people in more meaningful ways so you can help avoid isolation because of surgery or because of distance or because of time. They can help you stay connected with those people. I know the FaceTimes my wife had with her brother, the phone conversations, the Facebook conversations she had with her friends helped her while she was recovering. The second point is it can help you find your people as you get older so you can find people that have similar interests as you do and be able to connect with them and enjoy the activities. And it can help you build, it sounds weird with technology, deeper relationships with people that you want to be connected with, regardless of distance. I think of what I do. I work with clients in 26 different states. Many of them I have not met physically, but we use telecommunications, Zoom, and video meetings to work through building the viability and sustainability of retirement. And I have very good relationships with people that I haven't had a chance to meet physically or in person yet. And they're deep relationships. These are the points. These are what we have to filter all of these awesome technology features. So we'll have a framework for that. But I'm excited about the future if we harness it for our own good. Now, with that, let's go get happy with Nicole, because that's always fun. Hey, welcome to the Happy Lab, where we noodle on how to live a happier life. And I don't know anybody happier than Nicole Rockstar Mills. Hey, Nicole.
Hello.
That didn't sound happy. I just built you up as the happiest person I know. You gotta give me more than that.
Really? I felt like that sounded like a pretty perky hello, but hello.
There you go. All right. You know the song, Love the One You're With? I forget who sung it. Love the One You're With. Who sang that song? Wait, we have Google. We have technology. Let's Google that real quick. Hey, Google, who sang Love the One You're With? Well, Roger, it was Stephen Stills. Thanks, Google. Stephen Stills, Love the One You're With. It's a good song. But you know, one thing that technology is really good at is not forcing you to necessarily love the one you're with. Now, I'm not talking about a spouse. Don't get me wrong. But you can be around people, maybe it's at work or whatever environment, that aren't really resonating with who you are.
Oh,
you know
are you trying to tell me something?
No, we are blessed that way for sure. No. And sometimes you can feel stuck. It's like you go to a party and you're like, oh, these are not my people. I mean, they're good people. They're just not my people. I don't resonate with what they're talking about. And that is one of the beauties of technology, that you can go seek out and find the people that are like you, that you resonate with, so you don't have to sit there and love the one you're with. Does that make sense? Am I making a good point here, Nicole?
I think to a certain extent, yes. I think it's wonderful that it can help you find your crowd, but I also think it might be, sort of rude for you to be like, hey, I don't really like this person, so I'm just going to stare at my phone.
Well, one of the biggest indicators of happiness is looking at who you surround yourself with. I tell my kids this all the time. Be careful who you surround yourself with, because you will become them. They are a reflection of your values, of your outlook on life, and everything else. And I guess my only point from a happiness standpoint is, more than ever, we have the power to find people that we want to surround ourselves with. Well, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Think of the Rock Retirement Club or listeners to this show. We interact with listeners and people in the club all the time. And almost to a T, they're all awesome. They're all fun. It's because we figured out a way to get together via the podcast. Now, that's my point, is you don't have...
It breaks the barrier of proximity. Like, you're not just becoming a friend with someone because your kids attend the same school or because they work at the desk next to you. You can kind of break that barrier and find the people that you really click with.
As usual, you say it much more intelligently than I attempt to say.
I felt like we really needed to make it clear that you weren't advocating just being like, man, these people are horrible.
I didn't mean it that way. We can find our people. And I think that's the cool thing. And that, I think, makes us happier.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying, Nicole.
You're so welcome.
On your marks, get set.
And we're off to...
Hold on. Let's make sure we get this right this week, okay?
Okay. Oh, I keep messing up.
Okay. We're off to set a little baby step. Now I can't remember. Towards creating a great life in retirement.
Oh yeah, you definitely fixed that for me. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, in the next 7 days. I'm guessing there's someone that you maybe met at a party or that is a coworker that you really just connected with and had a really good conversation. Maybe it was about board games or cycling or knitting or whatever else it is. And then it just sort of dropped from there. The next 7 days, why don't you go connect with that person? Maybe that's a budding friendship. So Nicole, Tracy, and I are coming up with a resource of the top technology tools to help you rock retirement and really rock life in general. And this is coming from research that we've done within the Rock Retirement Club. And we've curated a lot of great reviews on things that can maybe help you improve your life from a technology perspective. So if you want to get access to that, we're going to send it out here in the next week or so. You're going to have to be signed up for our 6-Shot Saturday email, which we never really talk about, Nicole. We probably should do that more. That's like good best practice.
Oh, yeah, we probably should. Yeah.
But we're not all about best practices when it comes to the show. We just want to have fun and hopefully teach something. But if you want to receive our 6-Shot Saturday, which is a quick email that Nicole and I write that goes out every Saturday with some quick tips and helpful hints to rock retirement, go to rogerwhitney.com. And right there on the homepage, towards the bottom most likely, you can sign up and you'll get 6-Shot Saturday and we'll get you this resource.
I like that you said most likely, like you're not real sure what our homepage looks like.
I don't know the organization of it off the top of my head.
Understood.
That's why I have you and others to keep me on track.
No problem.
You guys have a great day.
We appreciate you joining us today for this episode of Retirement Answer Man. Be sure to visit rogerwhitney.com/answers to access the Retirement Answer Library with over 30 checklists to help you make the most of the only life you have. Remember, you have more power than you realize to create an amazing life starting today with Retirement Answer Man. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance reference is historical and no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Have a wonderful day.